A popular WWE star has been battling a life-threatening illness, but first, has Triple H been removed from the WWE Board of Directors? Earlier this year, it was revealed that the Endeavor Group was set to take over WWE, with them merging the wrestling company with their MMA promotion, UFC. The joint project, titled the TKO Group, will see both companies run under one banner, with the formalities set to be completed by mid to late September. Last night, WWE would post their latest SEC filing on their corporate website that revealed some interesting information concerning the upcoming merger, with them listing the names that will make up the WWE side of the TKO Board of Directors, with there being some notable names missing. The filing revealed that Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Stephen Koonin, and Nancy Tellum will make up 4 of the 5 board members on the WWE side of things, this leaving the future of 5 current WWE board members in the dark. For wrestling fans, the most notable omission is Triple H, who is the company's current chief content officer, leaving his future at the very top of WWE in doubt. It's worth noting that there is still one name yet to be announced to finish off the 5 selections by WWE, although it's unclear if this spot will be filled by a current WWE board member or perhaps another name from elsewhere in the company, or maybe even a fresh name entirely. And next, has a major AEW All In London match been leaked? On August 27, All Elite Wrestling will make their United Kingdom debut, this when they take over Wembley Stadium for the All In London pay-per-view. One of the matches that's been rumoured for the show is a bout that will pit Kenny Omega against Konosuke Takeshita of the Don Callis family, although it appears that this may not be the case. According to Dave Meltzer in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, the Omega Takeshita match is being saved for All Out the following weekend, whilst Wembley will see the AEW return of Kota Ibushi, and Dave would write, "The Kenny Omega vs Konosuke Takeshita match may end up on All Out in Chicago, and a rumoured match at All In was Omega and Adam Page and Kota Ibushi versus Jay White and Juice Robinson and Takeshita." All Out will go down on the weekend after All In London, this on September 3 at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, with AEW needing to find a balance between both cards with big matches, this whilst not diminishing one or the other in the process, something that is fair to say will be a juggling act in the weeks ahead. And next, WWE have laid out a plan to compete with AEW Dynamite. Upon the launch of AEW Dynamite on TNT back in October 2019, WWE would move NXT to the USA Network, with the 2 shows competing in the exact same slot until April 2021, with NXT eventually moving from Wednesday nights to Tuesday nights. It seems that despite the move, WWE still have AEW in their sights, as according to a fresh report from this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, NXT's goal is to compete as a 3rd brand with the aim to eventually surpass AEW Dynamite. Regarding the change in attitude towards the black and gold brand, Dave Meltzer would write, "There is a renewed focus from Endeavor as well as Nick Khan on making NXT what was termed a sustainable 3rd brand. The idea is to build up the ratings so they can get a good rights fee for the show, and then NXT can be a moneymaker. The goal is to go back to what it was, running regular tours outside of Florida in 2,000-seat arenas and taping television on the road like Raw and SmackDown." During the Wednesday Night Wars, WWE would bill NXT as its 3rd brand, insisting the show was no longer developmental, a philosophy they scrapped when they moved to Tuesday nights, as well as following the NXT 2.0 rebrand. As for WWE's desire to compete with AEW in the ratings once again, Meltzer would explain, "Right now the goal for NXT that we keep hearing is to close the gap with Dynamite in the 18 to 34 age group, where they've been close the last few weeks, and I believe a category NXT never beat AEW in previously, but in the new incarnation in recent weeks, with the jump from using Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, they've improved greatly in." In other NXT vs AEW related news, the October 11 episode of AEW Dynamite is set to be moved to Tuesday, October 10, due to a clash on TBS with the Major League Baseball playoffs, meaning there will be a more direct competition that night, although it seems that this will be the only night that's affected by the MLB playoffs this season. And speaking of NXT, is Cody Rhodes set to go one-on-one with this NXT champion? Following his SummerSlam win over the Beast Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes finds himself needing a brand new storyline going forward. One wrestler that's thrown their name in the hat for a match with the American Nightmare is NXT champion Carmelo Hayes. This following an interaction between the two men on social media this week. Hayes would take to Instagram to post about his involvement in Cody Rhodes' comeback to the ring, with the two training together during Cody's recovery from injury last year, something that was showcased on his recent Peacock documentary, with Rhodes responding to the post by saying, "Dog, when we dancing." Hayes would then suggest a match on Monday Night Raw and said, "I'm always free on Mondays." What would be even more interesting is if the match went down on an episode of NXT, this given Cody's history with AEW and their prior battle with the Black and Gold brand, although Hayes' suggestion of a Monday night match could rule this possibility out. Next up, will we ever get the Elite versus CM Punk and FTR? Over the past 12 months, one of the stories that's dominated the wrestling headlines has been the backstage brawl involving Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Ace Steel, and CM Punk, which saw those involved suspended and stripped of their corresponding championships. Since then, everyone involved has returned to the company, with many wondering if this real-life heat will be turned into an on-screen storyline. Speaking with DAZN Wrestling this week, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood at FTR would discuss the possibility of linking up with real-life friend CM Punk to take on the Elite somewhere down the line, something Dax feels could happen, and he would say, "I think if the cards fall in the right place and, the story's right and the opportunity calls for it, then hell yeah, we can do it." Cash would then add that everyone involved knows the story would make money and said, "It's hard to know with all the moving parts that are involved, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but I think wrestling is all about making the most money for yourself and for the company you work for, and I think that everybody here agrees with that, and the more time passes, the more likely I think it is that we can get to there, but you never really know, and I don't want to say yes, but I hope so." For now, the closest we'll get is at All In London later this month, when the Young Bucks battle AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR with the belts on the line, with this being the third time the two teams have met inside the squared circle. Before then, CMFTR will link up tomorrow night on AEW Collision, where they have the chance to win the AEW World Trios Championships, this when they take on Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews of the House of Black. And next, an AEW Originals contract is coming to an end. Legendary wrestling announcer Jim Ross has been signed to All Elite Wrestling since the company's first show, with him being a regular on the commentary booth during the early years of the promotion. More recently, Ross would be announced as a member of the AEW Collision announce team, although a fall ahead of the first episode would see him take a break from television after calling the night's main event. Following his return to the booth on the August 5 edition of Collision, we now have news on JR's current deal with the promotion, with this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter revealing that his contract is coming to an end, and the report notes, Jim Ross returned to the 8-5 Collision. He only came out to do the main event of CM Punk vs Ricky Starks. It was not announced ahead of time he'd be there, nor mentioned during the show until his music played. He'd previously said and told us he was targeting London as a hoped-for date for his return, but beat that by 3 weeks. His contract expires in September. We now await news on whether Ross will be re-signing with AEW to resume his duties on the AEW Collision announce desk, although this does seem likely following a recent appearance on his Grilling JR podcast, where he revealed that talks have taken place with Tony Khan over continuing on the Saturday night show. Next up, a major AEW return has been confirmed. At the end of 2022, Thunder Rosa would be forced to relinquish her AEW Women's World Championship, resulting in then interim champion Jamie Hayter being crowned as the official women's champion. Since then, Rosa has been recovering from a back injury, with us now having an update on her impending return to the ring. Appearing on her own YouTube channel this week, Rosa would meet with AEW ringside doctor Michael Sampson, who gave a positive update as to when we will see her wrestling once again. Sampson would reveal that Thunder will compete this Saturday night at the AEW Collision tapings and would say,
"Good news, she's been doing well. We're at week 4.
Yes.
She's been religious with her training, as she always has been, but religious with her training, doing everything we've asked her to do. Next week, if I can share, we're going to be in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're going to do like a 5-minute mini match and see how you tolerate that. And we're just taking the steps up, and if that looks good, then we're almost there.
So you're telling me I'm almost clear.
We're almost there, yes.
You heard that. 3 more weeks and I should be, I would say 3 more weeks.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Ooh.
Next week will be a telltale sign.
Hey, no. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
It remains to be seen if this return match on Collision will be televised or if it will take place as a dark match, although we appear to be ever closer to seeing Thunder Rosa back in action in AEW as she edges closer to 100% health. And next we have the backstage reaction to a recent AEW debut. This past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, Rob Van Dam would wrestle his first ever match in All Elite Wrestling, where he was on the losing side of a match with Jack Perry for the FTW Championship. Despite the loss, Rob would receive heavy praise for his performance online, something that was reflected within the company itself. According to a fresh report from Fightful Select, people backstage in AEW were happy with Rob Van Dam's performance on AEW Dynamite, a positive sign for those that hope to see him stick around for a while longer. As it stands, it seems that Mr. Wednesday Night's appearance is a one-off, although given the reaction to his debut, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him officially become All Elite in the near future. But do you think AEW should or will sign Rob Van Dam to a full-time contract following his performance on AEW Dynamite? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, a legendary tag team is set to reunite. Speaking of ECW legends, last night Impact Wrestling would confirm that current Impact star Bully Ray is set to link back up with his former tag team partner Devon, this for the first time in 7 years. The reunion will go down on September 9 at the White Plains, New York taping of Impact Wrestling Television, this to celebrate 1,000 episodes of the weekly show. The episode itself will actually air on September 14. Then going by the name of Team 3D, the Dudley Boys have held Impact Gold in the past, with them being 3-time TNA Tag Team Champions, with them also being members of the Impact Hall of Fame following their induction in 2014. Team 3D join a list of many former TNA and Impact talents that will be in town for the tapings, a list that includes Awesome Kong and the beautiful people Angelina Love and Velvet Sky. And next up, a current WWE superstar has teased their impending free agency. In April 2023, Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed of the NXT Schism faction would publicly request their release from the company, a request that was ultimately denied. They would then reveal that their contracts are set to expire in October 2023, the date that is just around the corner. Taking to Twitter last night, Jagger would once again discuss their WWE deals, this time noting that 2024 will be a year of significance, and he would write, 2024 is only 4 months away versus who? Let me know. It's unclear if this is a sign that time has been added on to the duo's contracts, or if they plan on taking a short break before returning to action in the new year, although it should be noted that Dave Meltzer took to Wrestling Observer Radio this week to state that Reed and Fowler's deals do end in October. With that said, they do remain an active part of NXT television, working as part of Schism, alongside Joe Gacy and Ava, the daughter of The Rock. And next, a popular current WWE superstar has been battling a life-threatening illness. Ever since Bray Wyatt disappeared from WWE television in February this year, there has been an air of mystery surrounding his whereabouts, with him being nowhere to be seen after his WrestleMania feud with Bobby Lashley ended abruptly weeks prior to the show. All we have heard is that Bray has been missing due to an undisclosed illness, with little more being known about his status in and out of the ring. Well, we now have an update from Fightful Select that provides some clarity on Bray Wyatt's current situation and the reason for his recent absence, whilst providing a potential return date in the future. Fightful would reveal that Bray Wyatt is finally getting closer to being cleared to wrestle once again, this after being away from the ring for 6 months. The report adds that whilst they won't disclose the exact illness, they would confirm that it was both career and life-threatening, although he has since significantly improved health-wise. With that said, WWE have been taking extra precautions to make sure Wyatt's long-term health is accounted for. As for potential plans for a return, a September date has been floated internally, although nothing is concrete as of now, and Fightful would write, "As of late, we've confirmed that Wyatt isn't actively cleared, but those we've spoke to claim he's getting closer and that there have been some creative ideas presented." One source indicated that some ideas were even mentioned for September, however that won't mean anything if he doesn't get that clearance. It was noted that whilst no creative plans are officially in place, past ideas have included involvement from Alexa Bliss, Eric Young, and Uncle Howdy/Bo Dallas, although due to Wyatt taking a break from television, these plans were scrapped. Of course, Alexa Bliss is now on maternity leave whilst currently pregnant, and Eric Young has since requested his release from the company, which confirms the two won't be involved in any immediate plans going forward. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 facts that MJF doesn't want you to know.